Welcome back to all our children of the night as we do our next podcast with you guys on Boys and Ghouls Film Review. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson, and it's my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi guys, children of the night, hey?
Oh, yes.
I want to drink your blood,
Well,
blah, 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 blah.
It does come on really late at night, and so
Well,
this is, seeing as we've been doing a lot of horror recently, I thought I might tone it down for this one.
Something for the kiddies.
So, something for little children who,
And the children at heart, young at heart.
Young and the children at heart. So we are reviewing tonight the Swan Princess that was released in 1994, I think.
Which is a musical fantasy. You know, lovely.
Yeah, this would have been the Disney film that would have been, but sadly didn't.
Could have been a Disney, but we'll get into it a bit later on. So I'll give you a bit of info on it. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Here we go. Produced by Richard Rich. And Jared F. Brown.
Interesting thing about Richie Rich, guys, he used to work for the Disney company, the Disney Animation Studio, but he broke with them and made his own studio.
And this is, I think, his first feature film, was it?
One of them.
No, the first one after he broke with Disney.
Yeah, he made 12, in the franchise, so you guys know. And so, I don't know if there'll be many more. Probably will be.
What I said is, I think this was the first feature movie he made after breaking away. I don't care if he's done 100,000 movies. I just said I think this is the first one he did as a breakaway from Disney.
Yeah, that's true.
I think, anyway, because about the same time, I think he tried to float this idea for Disney. They didn't want it, and he got a bit shitty with them. So he decided, I'm going to stop my own.
Don't swear. As I said before, this is a kid film, so we don't know who.
He got a bit pooey with them, and he decided to make his own production company. Ta-da! Okay.
Yeah.
So Richie Rich. Actually, he wasn't a little boy, the rich kid. No.
Bingo.
So he produced it with Jared Brown. It was a story by Richard Rich and Brian Nissen. Brian did the screenplay, and it was directed by Richard Rich.
Yeah. They've been doing the entire franchise together, so you guys know. They haven't broken apart. They're still tight.
A little bit like Robot Chicken, hey.
Unlike other animators who just go ahead and make up a story and forget about the past tense in the other movies.
Yeah.
But they kind of kept it tight, keeping the story together as much as possible to keep it, real and good. Anyway, so I also heard that Brian Nissen, he was also the guy who did the story.
Nissen.
He also narrated the story at the opening and the ending.
Oh, okay, that was he. That was he, was it? Okay.
Yes.
Right, now, well, I was doing my other bits here. Okay, right. Now, budget and box office. There's a bit of story behind this. The budget was 21 mil. There's a lot of artwork to go into doing all the colouring of the gels and everything, and so it's 21 mil sounds pretty fair.
I agree.
But it only boxed office at 9.8. Why was this? Because Lion King came out at the same time, and I think the competition lined it up to I wouldn't say to destroy him, but to take business away from him.
Yeah. When I heard about this animation, guys, I was tempted to watch it, but like most children, I was limited to watching not so much movies back in the day because, again, still costly and all that stuff. And of course, at the time, I didn't know the name of this movie until years later, obviously.
Now, it might not have done good at the box office because of its competition, but it did really, really good in home media. And I believe the sequels and the other movies in the franchise have done reasonably well.
Right.
Okay. You can't keep a good man down or a good production company. So, having said, I've got nothing or more to say or to add to it before we start, apart from run through a couple of voices. Because voices, even though they're not actors, they're voice actors. Okay? So here you go. You might hear, a few of these. Now, here we go. Michelle Nicastro plays Princess Odette.
She's beautiful.
She's a lovely lady. And her singing was done by a lady called Liz Calloway.
Okay.
Howard McGillan plays Prince Derek. Now Jack Palance plays Sir Rothbart. Okay. John Cleese plays John Bob. He's a frog.
Ribbit.
Stephen Wright. I know Stephen Wright's name. Was he... why is it second man? Yeah, plays Lorenzo Speed Trudgelong. He's a turtle.
Yeah. He's very... I think his voice is clever.
Hello, how are you? Yeah. And Sandy Duncan gets in there as Queen Uberta. There's a few other people in there, but they're the main ones. You go, wow, yeah, all these people did these nice... Oh, here it is. Brian Nissen was the narrator, as you said. Mm-hmm. There you go.
There you go.
So I had some interesting people in here doing the voices. So there you go then. Okay, do you want us to get into doing the tell?
Sure thing. So the story begins with the birth of Odette. And the king, her father, King William, is thrilled that he's got a daughter and stuff like that. And the whole kingdom is all thrilled. And we also meet Prince Derek, who's also at the special birthing with the special announcement of the birth of Odette, and King William and Queen what's her name? Queen Dan and Poppy?
Mrs. Queen, that was Uberta.
Uberta. Queen Uberta.
Think of Uber.
Yeah.
Uber Eats. No.
They come up with a plan or a similar idea that they would like to pair up their children and to unite the kingdoms.
Yeah, strengthen them and everything else.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But King William has other problems up his sleeve. He has to deal with an evil wizard who wants to take his kingdom away from him. But luckily enough, his soldiers find him, took away his magic, and instead of executing him, which would have been a bit of a solution to everyone's problems, he was vanished, along with his servant, obviously. And he vowed vengeance against King William, saying, "I'll take everything that's precious to you," blah, blah, blah. But he then leaves, and then years later, like, say 12 or 10 years later,
whatever,
Odette and Derek meet for the first time. They're like 9 or 8 years of age, I'm not sure. And they start getting well, they don't get along at first, obviously, because like little children, they are not too thrilled about meeting up every summer all the time.
Yeah, and being forced to hang out with each other and stuff.
And play with each other. Of course, Uberta and King William, they are so absorbed with the fact that one day they will unite their lands and with Derek and Odette as king and queen, supposedly.
You know, I've always, in just about every one of these fairy tales like this, you have a king in one kingdom and maybe a queen in another kingdom. Why don't they get married?
Well, for starters, Uberta, I think her husband, he disappeared, and King William, he's a widow, and his late wife died giving birth to Odette.
I know that.
And
he was free and she was free.
Yes, but
I'm just saying,
they are not romantically attached.
Well, they're going to force their kids to do it instead. That's not right.
Yeah, so no. We get this interesting song where it called "This Is My Idea" sort of song. And then we watched as the kids grow from 13 to 16 to 20 or something. We noticed there is a bit of chemistry here and there sometimes, but the chemistry is still drowned out by their hate for each other.
They don't hate each other. They'll be forced into a relationship with each other. Not quite the same thing.
Yeah, when they get...
So they keep their childhood prejudices going.
Yeah. When they get to their 20s, I think, they finally meet again, and Odette is grown into a beautiful girl, young woman, and Derek is quite a handsome fella, obviously.
Exactly.
And they dance, which makes me think of Sleeping Beauty for this scene, which makes me...
Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah.
Cinderella. Yeah, whatever.
Well, more Sleeping Beauty because they use the similar color palette in that scene.
Oh, he's very
I could be wrong. Again, as I said
have.
before, Rich was involved in Disney, so he probably used the similar color palettes to them.
Well, there you go then.
Anyway, they dance, and Derek says to everyone, "I am definitely going to marry Odette."
She's really pretty.
Then Odette drops the bomb, saying to him, "What do you like about me?" And he's like, "You're pretty for a start," and no answer. Really?
Is that really another crap out of her?
And she dumps. Well, I don't think dumps the right word because they were now in a relationship at this point.
Then she walks off.
Yeah, she and her father they leave, and Queen Uber Eats. Uberta is a little sad and disappointed that her son was rejected, or not got rejected, obviously.
Well, that's weird.
Then later on, King William and Odette, they're heading through the countryside towards their boat, where they often traveled there by boat sometimes. And anyway, soon enough, the evil wizard appears and kidnaps Odette and kills William and his men. And well, it's not confirmed because in this scene we don't see the death scene because it's still a key movie, so all the deaths are sort of off screen, if that's a term. But luckily enough, one of the captains of King William's arrives back at the castle and tells Derek about what happened. And there, Derek gets on his horse and gets to the site. The place is a mess. Odette is nowhere to be found, and the king says to Derek that this creature attacked them, and it's not what you think it is. That's the term he used, meaning there's no describing what it is.
What's the word? Yeah. Weird. It's not what you think it is. So
the kingdom thinks that Odette is dead, but here's the big but. The evil wizard has taken her to a secret location in a sort of abandoned castle, I think it's the term.
Yeah, an old castle. Yeah.
An old castle, where he turns her into a swan, and each night when she's during a full moon, I think it's the term,
when the moon comes out at night.
When the moon comes out at night, she turns back into a human.
However,
he says that that he wants her to marry him so he can have his King William's kingdom. See? Of course, she rejects him, and of course she wants to flee, but he reminds her each day she'll turn back into a swan. So there's no way of breaking the spell unless the person she loves declares his love to the entire world, making it and possibly breaking the spell.
Isn't that lovely?
Meanwhile, all this is happening, Derek is training hard to try to figure out with archery to make sure he kills the creature.
He's honing his skills so he can kill the evil beastie.
He knows deep down that Odette is still alive. He's not listening to his mother, his friend what's his name? Barlam?
Whatever.
Whatever. And his advisor, I think his name is Sir Chamberlain, I think it is, I'm sure. I could be wrong.
So, yeah, Chamberlain, yeah.
Yeah, he refuses to listen to any one of them. So he continues training while his mother plots to do a bride choosing ball. A bride choosing ball, meaning she's going to send out invitations.
To all the eligible females in the neighbourhood and say, come here, eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so this is a bride choosing ball. It's up to... So she's going to do this without his permission, I might add. Even though he says Odette is still alive and all that stuff. Anyway, he practiced hard with the musicians, and it's funny, that scene where they dress up like animals and they complain non-stop. It's so funny. Anyway, soon enough, meanwhile, while this is all happening, Odette befriends the little creatures living in the unknown kingdom, and there is that. Let me see, frog. That's John Bob, who thinks he's a prince. He's a frog. Yes. He's a prince. He believes he's a prince.
And you got Speed, a turtle called Speed.
And Puff, who's a puffing, sort of a puff bird.
It's a bird. I'm not sure. A bird is a puff. It's a breed of bird called a puffin.
Okay, Puffin.
Okay.
So it's
think of the books, the paper books, Puffin and books. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, he sees himself as Lieutenant Puffington or something like that.
Whatever.
Or something. Not important.
Illusions of grandeur. Here you go.
Anyway,
Lieutenant Puffin. Yeah.
John Bob tries to get some flowers off the moat, I think, but he gets attacked by some alligators.
Why not?
Or crocodiles. I'm not sure.
Whatever.
Anyway, but Odette tells him that. No, I cannot fall in love with you because I'm already in love with someone else. I'm in love with Derek, and he has to declare his love to me to entire world.
So the idea is he has to declare his love for her. It can't be the other way around.
Yes,
it's a one-way street here. You know?
They then sing a duet, which is called Far Longer Than Forever, which is a beautiful song. It becomes a national anthem for the Swan Princess when I think about this movie.
We will rock you. That's a better song.
What's that got to do with it?
It's a better song.
Anyway, so they then plan to try to get Derek to the place because Derek's still training. He also found out what the monster is. It's a monster that could change form, obviously. Yes. And of course, Odette comes up with a plan to get the map that's inside the castle. That's supposedly where the evil wizard is lodging at the moment.
Yes.
So he appears every night trying to plead with or propose to Odette, but she says flat out no. Of course. And so her and her new friends, they help her find the map, and in order to find where she is, because this is an abandoned castle, meaning she does not know where she is, obviously. So they find the map.
It's on a GPS or anything.
Yeah, luckily they do. And they then, Puffing and her, they quickly fly off and try to find Derek, obviously. And Derek is in the woods, and his little friend, they start searching for the creature, obviously, and Odette, of course. Because they are unaware that Odette is now transformed into a swan at this point, because it's daytime. As I said, only when she's on the lake and when it's a full moon that she can transform back into, a human, obviously. So, anyway, they spot Odette in swan form and chase her, or Derek chases her. His little shy, friend is, he seems like a coward, obviously.
He is.
Anyway, he chases her, and eventually they soon arrive at the lake, and at first it's the clouds are covering the moon, but soon enough the clouds shift, and Odette turns back into her ordinary self for a minute. And Derek recognizes her. They embrace, cuddle, and kiss. And she tells him about how that she's been transformed into a swan each day, she cannot leave because if she leaves, who knows what will happen.
The spell is she is a swan. But the only time she become a human is if she is on the lake when the moon comes up.
Yes.
Otherwise, she'll always be a swan.
Yeah, she tells Derek, you must declare your love to the entire world. And he says he'll gladly to do that very same thing and stuff. Of course, he tells her about the ball and stuff like that. So he tells her to come to the ball and, all that stuff. So he heads off because the bad guy is approaching. He was about to fight him and all that stuff. But, anyway, he does. And Odette tries to pretend she accepts the evil wizard's proposal. But he sees through this act and he then decides to send a decoy to go to the ball in her stead. While Odette, even though someone else accepts his love or something like that, she will probably pass out and die, obviously.
Well, possibly, yeah.
Yes. Anyway, that's his plan. He transforms his servant into Odette.
He serves a female who's an old hag type, grungy looking, long scraggly hair, warts, not very pretty.
Nope, not very pretty very much. Anyway, soon enough the ball arrives and Derek is in, he's in total control mode, trying to make everything look perfect. Have perfect food, Swan-like, perfect music, Swan-like. You know the gist. Anyway, the ball arrives and we get the creme of the crop of the women that arrive.
Some good babes.
They're pretty good. Some look bizarre. Some look really well, not so dressed. They look like they ought to be this, not the pick of the crop, in my opinion. Yeah. But soon enough, Odette arrives and they have a bit of a dance. Of course, this is not Odette. This is the pretend one. And of course, Odette, the real Odette, is locked in a bit of a dungeon along with Derek's friend, who was lost in the woods, obviously, and now he's locked in the dungeon. And thanks to Odette's friends, they kind of dig through the castle under the moat.
Yeah, there's a bit of a crack in the wall and make it a bit bigger,
And Odette was able to swim out and fly to the castle. Unfortunately, when she arrives there, she sees Derek dancing with
the other one.
The doppelganger or whatever.
Yes, a doppelganger, yeah.
And as he's dancing, she continues to shift his eyes away from the windows, the big windows. Anyway, soon enough, he declares his love to Odette, and unfortunately, Odette is shocked and horrified, and quickly flies back to the castle. And then we soon learn Derek realizes that he was tricked, and he quickly gets on his horse to try to get back to the castle, where he watches Odette, in human form, lying there on the...
She's flying back to the lake area with her last energy, and she collapses and falls into the lake, just near the shore, handy. Yeah. And he gets there and grabs her out and puts her on the shore. And
then the evil wizard arrives, and Derek demands him to bring Odette back to life and to remove the curse, obviously. Of course, he refuses, and they begin to fight. Him turning into his massive creature form.
What dragon was it?
A dragon, I don't know, a griffin, I'm not sure.
Something right.
It's a weird creature. It looks like a cross between a bird and a bear and other creatures. Anyway, the little animal friends help Derek and get him an arrow to shoot at the creature.
Yes.
He eventually shoots. He uses a sort of game he did with his friend previously, and it works really well. And soon after the wizard dies and falls into the lake, and boom!
A bit of pollution home.
Yeah. Derek then walks over to Odette and cradles her in his arms and tells her that he loves her and how much he admires and loves the fact that she's got so much courage and stuff. He does finally declare
he's pushing
it in front
all the right buttons by now.
At this point, he's pushing all the right buttons, and he's declaring it in front of their friends, the animals. And soon enough, Odette was able to awaken, and the curse is lifted. Then later on, we get this beautiful wedding scene where all the town and all the right people are there. And soon enough, they hold this at the castle that Odette they've been staying at, the unknown castle.
The unknown castle, Mr. Rothbart's castle.
Yeah. Anyway, so they can eventually John Bob gets his kiss, but he does not turn to a prince. He thinks
he's the prince because he looks at a pond or something or other, and he sees the reflection of a prince who's actually standing behind him. So he walks into the room to study stuff, and he still thinks he's a prince while he's a frog. Yeah.
Ribbit. Anyway, then Odette and Derek, they move away from the palace for a bit, where Odette says, "Would you still love me till the day I die?" And he says, No.
Longer.
Then they kiss, and then we fade out, and then we hear the song far longer than far longer than whatever. The song, anyway. Then we fade out, and the credits roll. Blah, blah, blah. There.
Fade to black. No.
Now, as I said before, this one, I almost wish Disney would have picked up, because when I think about Disney at the moment, they seem to be running on, lack of stories. That's my opinion, because they continue using the remakes and to get themselves still noticed. Anyway.
Now, behind the scenes stuff here. And they go, right, about Mr. Rich. Having previously directed The Fox and the Hound, 1981, and The Black Cauldron, 1985, at Walt Disney Feature Animation in Burbank, California.
Yeah, and he was also an assistant who worked on the Pete's Dragon.
Pete's Dragon.
Sorry, my bad.
Pete's Dragon.
Sorry.
Pete's Dragon.
This was years ago, so many years ago, obviously.
Go away. I'm talking.
Okay.
Okay. He was supposed to do a movie called Oliver and Company in 1988, but it says he was fired by Disney feature animation president Peter Schneider. So I don't know whether he was fired or he left, because I think there might have been a difference of attitudes.
Maybe.
Yeah. So maybe chances are he could have forced his way out by having a nasty discussion with this Pete Snyder. Okay. Now, following his departure from Disney, he formed his own studio, Rich Animation Studios, of about 26 employees, in which most of his key employees came from Disney. Now, that would tell me that there was a bit of dissension among the troops, and they left to follow him because they thought he was the creative man. Including the company's chief marketing chief, Matt Mesa.
Marketing chief, wow.
Yeah, so interesting. So he left, supposedly fired, and 26 employees went with him. So tells you something, doesn't it? He had a good peer group, people who admired his work and thought he was good value for money.
Yeah, even though he's starting out, and usually, as I've told you in the past, starting out could be very scary on your own, especially if you don't have enough backers or. But then again, he got influence. He's got the Disney recommendation. Letters.
He's been there. He's credited.
He's credited as one of the good animators at the time.
Now, here's something. The Swan Princess was actually based on the German folktale of Swan Lake.
Yes.
There you go. So they based it on Swan Lake. And we're going back to Disney. Disney often did that sort of stuff, using old classical things.
I know.
Yeah, I think you had the Fantasia, used a lot of classical stuff in it. Peter and the Wolf, and lots of other things back there. They used classical. That Mickey Mouse one, the Wizard, the Sorcerer's Apprentice. They used a lot of classical music and old themes or whatever, and brought them into the cartoon, the animation world.
Yeah.
So there you go then.
Yeah, of course, the other Swan Lake related Swan Princess movies and animations, they're actually moved on to 3D animation now, meaning they've jumped from 2D animation and now they've gone into three-dimensional animation.
Yeah.
I do kind of prefer the 2D ones because we don't seem to have those anymore, and I kind of miss it. And I hope they come back one day, make a comeback someday.
Anyway, here's something. Mr. Rich wrote the script, obviously, and went through 12 drafts over a period of 2 years. So it wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy road.
Never easy.
12 redrafts, and he tried to peddle it to several Hollywood studios with no success. Now, so what happened is there was a merger. Rich Animation Studios, Family Entertainment Network, and Cassette Duplicators Incorporated, a cassette duplicating operation in West Valley City, Utah. They became one company, or worked together, joined, whatever, and produced a company called Nest Entertainment. So there you go. So he can't keep a good man down. But you think about it, Disney did the same thing. Mr. Disney was working for those other animators, and they screwed him over, and he left and did his own thing, and he made a good go of it, didn't he?
Yeah, but not to mention some of the animators, when they were working under him, they kind of ran to these other studios to, of course, after they did that, they then got their own groups together to make their own set of studios, meaning they kind of jumped from those guys to doing their own stuff much later on, like some of the guys who were the Warner Brothers guys who did the Bugs Bunny and other characters. Those particular animators came directly from Walt Disney's original company years ago. Yeah, okay. Meaning they jumped from doing his the beginner stuff to their own stuff. Meaning they kind of went their own way in the end.
There they go. Now, having said all a bit about, I said earlier on that it was a bit of a box office flop because of one thing or another, Lion King or whatever. I think I mentioned before. I think the budget was 21 mil. They made about 10 million at the box office, but home media picked up the money for them.
Yeah.
So the general reception has given it a thumbs up. So there you go.
Yeah. I certainly like most of the paintwork in this, guys.
Yeah,
I like the color palette and how say at the ending bit, it looks like it was done in watercolors. It was just my opinion. Anyway.
Whatever. What I was saying is that the reception was pretty damn good. Yeah, good to very good. So yeah, but there was no bad ones. So
I didn't see anything bad about it.
The people said, you have to have a look at this as well. Sometimes you get a guy reviewing it prefers Disney doing it. When someone comes there to challenge Disney, they'll rubbish it a bit. So even though the people are holding their grading down on the movies, it's actually probably a tad better.
Yeah,
because it's like they get cynical, suspicious of you guys. They like the old guys.
Yeah, you know what I've always said, Mike?
Change is a horrible thing.
When such a person comes along and such new animations come up, they're not from that particular company, people are scared of what they'll see. And when they see it, they're taken aback. They might be surprised. It may shock them. It might open a new things in the industry, and I almost wish that we could be more and more open-minded here and there. But I think I almost wish that they didn't reject the Swan Princess.
I think Disney. If it stayed as Disney, they might have done a better job.
Yeah, and they could have earned 12 more movies from this, and instead of feel like they're dropping off the planet.
That's the whole point. Disney. I think he might have been fired due to creative differences. How's that? That's what sounds gut feeling for me. And they could have had his brain and his talent, and they could have made a lot of money. But he's made his own company, and he's making lots of money now. So there you go then.
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't check the Amazons and the eBays on this one. So I'm not going to say where to get it this time, but as far as I'm aware, it's available, and so we got it. Yeah, so
I got quite
actually.
You
keep talking about. I'll have a quick look.
I have not the entire series. I mean the franchise, guys. I have quite just half of them. Obviously, most of them are a little difficult to get. I mean, here and there, but I managed to get the first two, the Swan Princess, and the first one, and the second one, and the rest of the ones that I have are the three-dimensional animation ones, which is not too bad, but I like the two-dimensional ones because it takes me back to a simpler time of watching animation in a bit of a good, nice color palette, because it's rich, and it just has a little bit of the a great look about it that I like, that I trust too, obviously. Although everyone has their right to their own opinion in animation, so I don't have an issue with your choices. If you prefer three-dimensional animation, that's fine with me too. And some of you guys are like me, who like the original two-dimensional type animation. That's even fine too. So everyone has a right to their choices in this instance. Anyway, I do like the songs in this. I especially like Far Longer Than Forever. That song was pretty. And I like This Is My Idea, the one about where the kids are complaining about each other because they
nicest possible way.
Not really.
Anyway, I'll break in.
All right.
I just had a look at the old marketplace. eBay has them for sale, new and used. Amazon has it for rent and for sale. Being an older one, watch out for VHS and Laserdisc, guys. This one's available, and it looks like most, if not all, of the other ones are available as well. So, the Swan Princess, you said about 12, is it?
Roughly 12, yes.
Yeah.
And there might be a few more coming, probably in the creative windmill as we speak.
We haven't graded it, have we?
No, we haven't.
No, we said.
So
I'm going to give it 9. There you go.
I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10.
10.
Because, as I said before, I like the paintwork, and I love the story, and I love the chemistry between the characters. Even though I did think it was a bit of a rush job when they tried to make out that Odette and Derek were still romantically attached to one after Odette rejected him in the when he with his stupid declaring that she's just plain old pretty.
Well, she is gorgeous.
She's gorgeous.
Good looking babe.
Yeah. Anyway, I do feel bad.
I wonder if it was based on anybody when they actually drew the image of her.
Who knows?
Sometimes they get
Sometimes they would get an actor in or characters in.
Like in Roger Rabbit. Mrs. Rabbit was based on was it Fay Ray or one of those older actors? Yeah. Who was cute. No, it was the other one. It wasn't Fay Ray, it was the other one. Can't remember. But yeah, a good-looking babe from an earlier period, and they drew her based on that and just gave a really hot body.
True. But as I said before, they probably do still do that, get either famous actors or maybe just people they see from ancient times. Like, the whole dress style would have been from the old ballet stuff you may have seen.
Probably.
And of course Derek's outfits would naturally be from
military.
Those. Well, not just
military. No,
military.
Military because the king was usually the head of the army, so he'd have a white tunic on with medals on it and braid on the shoulders. And it's a military uniform. A lot of them actually wore something like that in special occasions. Yeah.
He was wearing bit tights and the usual leather boots and just an ordinary tunic outfit.
Yeah, well,
he's daft.
But they were all Flint. Eat your heart out. He was a good swordsman, wasn't he?
Yeah, I like to think that the style may have came from those particular plays, like the whole Swan Lake type stuff. The old style may have came from those old styles you may have you've seen in illustrations, stuff like that. Obviously, I gotta admit, I do think Berta's hair is funny when I think of it, especially at the end where it starts into a swan head.
Yeah, interesting.
And it was so funny.
Anyway,
irrespective, it's a good watch, and I highly recommend you guys watch it with your children.
It's family entertainment. Okay?
Yes, it is.
It's not a slasher movie. It's not a sci-fi. It's good, wholesome, clean, fun, that all the family can enjoy it together.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay, if you don't like animation, sit there and watch it with the kids.
I read somewhere a quote from Walt Disney. I know this is nothing to do with Walt Disney, but he said he didn't create cartoons just for the children, but for the children at heart.
Yeah, yeah.
In
the
adults.
young at heart, yeah. The
Meaning,
point is,
it was not
adults made adult humour that appealed to children. Mm-hmm. I always remember something, Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck. Mm-hmm. Bugs Bunny does a magic act and he cuts Daffy Duck in half. Uh-huh. And Daffy Duck jumps out of the box, jumping up and down, saying, he's a fake and he's fake and his body's coming apart. He looks down, holds his bottom of his hands, his bottom end, his lower half, and he says, lucky I've got group insurance. Right. Now, a child wouldn't know what group insurance was. And as a child, I didn't know what group insurance was. When I became an adult, then I knew what group insurance was. Funny. So subtle humour for adults is always going to be in there.
Yeah, guys.
Yeah. But you got to be sitting there watching it. You can't be just walking. I'm going to go get something out of the fridge. I'm going to go put the kettle on. I'm going to go you go to the toilet. Come back. What's happening? You're going to miss it. So sit down there and watch it. You might surprise yourself. Yeah.
The new animations these days, they try to offend people more and more.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. People want to be. I don't think people want to be shocked so much. They want to be entertained.
Exactly.
And if it's something that will shake audiences, it's not always. I think sometimes, I was saying this in a previous comment on Facebook where someone was talking about the Velma TV series cartoon, and one person said that this animation was more meant to piss or annoy fans.
Was it? Okay, I haven't seen it, so I do not know.
They didn't like the fact that some of the scenes that were not really appropriate.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I get it. It's an animation meant for the fans from the Scooby-Doo from years ago, who have now grown into adults. But the adults, no doubt, will probably prefer the old Scooby-Doo episodes.
I like Scooby.
I even got a few of the old, episodes here and there that I've grew up with, obviously.
Okay. I've often wondered if Scooby-Doo was related to the dog who played Astro in the Jetsons.
Well, that's an interesting thought.
So you often wonder, don't you?
See, guys, the company that's
Hanna-Barbera, yeah.
They actually took the Scooby-Doo look from another cartoon that were developing, and for a while they tried to palm the series off and try to get people to take an interest, and it took them a while because they had to change the dog. They changed him to a Great Dane, I think.
A Great Dane, and he's beautiful.
Because he was originally going to be a dog that was similar to another space dog, but they decided to go for a different approach.
Well, I wanted to do Tintin's dog, little Snowy. Yeah,
I get it.
I like Snowy.
So they went for a Great Dane, and of course...
They could have gone for Alsatian, like Rin Tin Tin. I liked Rin Tin Tin.
I also have said this in the past, that the Scooby-Doo, thing probably inspired slashers, and the whole characters for slashers. The whole, you got the smart but very hot guy, and you have the sophisticated, brainy girl, Velma, and the nice, good-looking girl, Daphne. No, she's brunette. She was redhead.
She got blonde roots.
And of course, you have Scooby and Shaggy, who are the comedy reliefs, who are
Actually, get on to Shaggy. Cabin in the Woods?
Yeah.
I reckon the stoner in Cabin in the Woods was a rip-off of Shaggy.
Probably.
There's just something about going,
Yes, as I said before, guys, I like to think that's how slashers developed their characters. They used that sort of thing to make them have shape and character. Anyway, so you guys know where to find these, find the Swan Princess, obviously.
Yeah, you can get it, but watch out for VHS and Laserdisc because it's an oldie.
Yes.
Like I said, I can get this one. I saw this one, and I think, I didn't check every title, but it looked like there's lots of other ones there, so you can probably get all the other ones too.
Yeah. Anyway, just remember the dates, considering this one...
Yeah, this is 1994.
Yeah. And you don't want to get the wrong one in case you end up getting 1 year later, you know.
Well, you get the next one. Yeah. You don't need. You want the first one, yeah, obviously, and then you compare it to the other ones. Actually, this was done. I think over a 3 or 4 year period. The first one, yeah. It's trying to get it to come together properly. Yeah, so it did a lot of work on it. Yeah.
Anyway, so that's it for us guys today. So, you know, in our next review, we're probably going to be looking at doing the Planet of the Apes from A to Z. Or, well, to the ones that have a good flowing storyline.
Or it's Ape to Z.
Uh-huh.
Or 8 to chimpanzee.
Ha ha ha.
Sorry, I thought it was funny.
So, we are going to review the old
Chucky Heston one.
Chucky Heston
one. I like Chucky.
And we're going to then review the ones that were done in that years later. Obviously,
we're going to do the first 1 or 2 and then refer to the other ones probably. And probably that last one, we might actually be a bit more information on, maybe. Maybe.
And of course,
we'll work it as we go along.
We won't talk about the one that Tim Burton did. We may leave that for another day, obviously, because there's too many. Like, there's also a TV series of the Planet of the Apes that came out back in the 1970s, and that was only 1 season, from what my memory is correct goes by.
Yeah, I don't think it went. I don't think it had enough storyline to keep it floating.
Yeah. The same, if I could say, for Logan's Run when they did a TV series.
Yeah, Logan's Run had the same problem.
Floated and died on its keister.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that'll be what we're going to be doing a review next time, so be sure to check it out then. Alright guys, that's about it from us guys. So this is Sarah Stephenson.
And Marvel.
Saying see you guys around on Boys and Ghouls Film Review. Bye for now, and have a good week.
Bye guys.